All right. Good evening. It is 6:01. I call the DeKalb Township Board of Trustees meeting to order. Clerk, roll call, please.
Absolutely. Trustee King,
Here.
trustee Bradlow,
Here.
trustee Thurman. Here. And Supervisor House.
Here.
Trustee McNutt is absent and also present Commissioner Smith and Joe Bertano.
We can stand for the pledge, please. To lead us in the pledge.
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Does anyone have any changes they wish to make to the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is set. Next, we have a hearing on our schedule. So if I could get a motion to open the hearing regarding the DeKalb Township Road District Budget Appropriation Ordinance amendment.
A motion.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of opening the hearing? Aye. Anyone opposed? Abstain? Okay, so the hearing is now open at 6:02, and the topic of this hearing is budgetary amendments to the DeKalb Township Road District Budget Appropriation Ordinance 2024-001. So if you would like to discuss it, that's the, amending the first one, which is 001. This amended will be this new ordinance.
Thank you.
It's been a little bit. Yes.
I'm sorry. So with that being said, basically the amended portion of the budget is just to clear up balances from line items in both the road and bridge and the building and equipment fund. And then to shift that money into a capital fund in order to help pay for the construction of the new building and the site work to be started here in the spring that I've talked about numerous times. So a lot of the line items were, for instance, I know in building and equipment, there was some line items that, you know, if I had 85,000 budgeted for a new truck and the truck ended up costing 81, that extra money got shifted to be spent in that extra line item. And also a few in road and bridge, otherwise known as general road fund, that would just get shifted. There were balances that would have just ended up laying there until next year's budget. So that's the sum of it. And I will take any questions.
A question just on page 4.
Yes.
IPWMAN.
Yes, so that's been in my budget now for going on almost 10 years. So every year we're involved with what's called IPWMAN, Illinois Public Works Association, as a mutual aid network where we've gone and assisted other communities on disaster relief, hurricanes, heavy storms, or hurricanes, I'm sorry, tornadoes, heavy storms, and things of that nature. So that sets aside $2,500 to pay for our costs involved in that. Sometimes they have filed to get through FEMA and different things to get reimbursed. We've never personally gotten a check back, but we've assisted Naplate down near Ottawa. This last summer when the heavy storms went through Kirkland, in the northwest corner of the county, we went up with our chipper and chipped up tree limbs and stuff. The guys did for almost a week to help them get ahead of that and things of that nature. So that's what that, we just always carry a $2,500 budget line item for that. So.
Well, thank you. I really was just trying to figure out what IPWMAN. You gave me more than. Yeah, thank you.
So under capital outlay 1.4, it says new equipment, storage, building and work site. So you have 300,000 put away in the original budget. What did you have?
That I don't have in front of me.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering how much you were able to shift over.
Well, I can go to this and see what I have.
Sorry, didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's all right. I should have done that today. And then what was in that, in the road and bridge, or was that in the building and equipment?
That is in,
Oh, that's great. On page 5?
yeah, that's in, road and bridge under capital outlay.
1.4?
I think he had 106.
New buildings and storage, I was at 106.
Yeah. Oh, wow,
Yeah, I
well,
was
that's
able to
nice to be
generate
able
that
to,
much. And then in building and equipment, I know I was able to generate a significant amount as well. Yeah, so the original in building equipment. I had 150, and in the new budget, I was able to, by shifting a lot of the balances. And some of it was just that we were more accurate with the amount of money that we received, because we received more money than our proposed levy. Because we don't know those actual figures a lot of times when we produce our budget, so. Yeah, so I was able to come up with 299 in building and equipment, which my original, I think I had 150,
yeah, oh,
so, yeah.
that's some nice,
And it removes a lot of that balance that we have struggled with carrying over those balance numbers every year.
Uh-huh.
You know, by that, so I'm eliminating a lot of that for the amount that we carry
Right.
over too,
so
so,
that will help with reducing how much has to borrow, right?
right, yeah. And that's just the remainder of this budget. Going into next year, a lot of that, and a lot of the equipment purchasing that I've done here in the last few years. Like almost my total I wanna say $161,000 building and equipment. I'm gonna see about 150 of that go towards this work as well, and then what I can come up with road and bridge, should be another significant number, and have every bit of another 150. So I should be able to have, within the next 10 months, I should have almost $300,000 to $400,000 of the $1.8 million put together. So.
Any other questions from the board? Comments from the public regarding the ordinance? Comments? Okay. Great. All right, with that, I will take a motion to close the hearing.
That's it, a motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
all those in favor of closing the hearing?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstain? Okay, the hearing is closed at 6:09. Presentations, we have none. Public comment? Public comment? Okay. Reports. Supervisor's report. Just want to provide an update on the joint review board. That's all the taxing bodies who, we have quarterly meetings or more frequently if needed. It's, in regard to the TIF money, since that impacts all of us. So we had a meeting scheduled in January, but there wasn't a quorum, so we weren't able to hold the meeting. But there were 2 requests that were asked to be considered, and we'll be holding a future joint review board meeting to vote on it. But those 2 requests are for the Eduardo's building and the McCabe's building. They are looking to reopen those. McCabe's was bought by a local family, and it's going to be brought back to, I've heard different things, that it's gonna be a regular bar with a, nightclub kind of feel to it. And then I've heard it's gonna be a catering and special events. So I'm not sure what it is, but one way or another, it's gonna be occupied and business is gonna be being run out of it. But in order to bring it up to code, a sprinkler system has to be installed. And so they're looking for TIF dollars to pay for a portion of that. And then same with the Eduardo's building, there is it's going to be an Italian restaurant with wood fire pizzeria. And so because of the stove or oven for the wood fire, special sprinkler system has to be installed. And so they're looking for TIF dollars for that as well. Especially for the McCabe's building, not so much the Eduardo's building. If anyone is gonna occupy that, it's gonna have to have that sprinkler system, so that has to happen regardless. So that is coming before us, and I'm wondering if there's any questions you want me to bring back to Joint Review Board about either of those projects, or if comments, questions? Okay. Do you support those use of TIF funds for those projects?
I support any building that needs sprinklers.
Mhm.
The McCabe's building, one of the oldest buildings downtown. So anything that can have a sprinkler system is gonna be a safer building.
Being occupied is better than it being vacant, so.
And
Yeah.
that means that the
Almost
tax rate, or,
Right,
you know, that
Yeah.
we receive more money back. That's exactly what TIF is about.
right. It's an investment in these buildings so that they can generate. So, I mean, I support both of those projects too. So, if we don't have anyone doesn't have any concerns, then I will express that townships in agreement with and vote in favor of it. Anyone opposed to that? No? Okay. All right. Just some things that have been going on February 3rd, Casey and I did a presentation to the warming center in DeKalb, letting individuals who were staying there make sure they were aware of our services. Danita also went there to make them aware of employment services. So we handed out some applications to residents or folks who were staying there, so that if they are able to find housing, letting them know that we can, potentially assist with that first month's rent. So hopefully they'll take advantage of that. On February 6th and 7th, I was in Peoria at the Alliance of Illinois Cemeterians Convention, where, just learned more about cemetery rules and regulations, networking, talking to vendors. There's nothing that I walked away with that was really, it's all kind of routine stuff. So it's just always good to go to those and get updates and so forth. On February 11th, Casey and I went to the Metro Township Association meeting for the Human Services Group that was in Schaumburg Township, where we received a tour of their food pantry. It's a beautiful pantry that is very well attended by residents there. So it was interesting to attend that. And then also in the meeting, more suburban townships, we were talking about, kind of what is happening in their townships with how it relates to what's happening on a federal level. And they're seeing a decrease of migrants and immigrants who are utilizing their services because sometimes they like, I can't remember the name of the township it was, but right across the street, on one of the days their township opened, ICE was doing a raid at a building across the street. So people, who normally would use these resources, have some hesitancy to do so, especially in the more suburban areas in the city, close to the city. So we were just brainstorming how we can make sure that people who need these resources during this time.
Did any good ideas come out of that?
Well, it's very clear that when ICE is around, the word gets spread, and that's why, like this particular township had very few people coming that day. So we talked about how do you use that underground communication system, kind of as a way to distribute information about, sometimes, they're doing deliveries of boxes of food. And, letting them know that township has no requirements to report anyone to ICE. But, beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot on how to make people feel safe, continue ship services. We don't really, because we don't have a pantry, we don't deal with those kind of issues. And there's some townships who are taking a position, their boards are taking a position on the whole migrant issue. And they asked, what we were doing, and I said, we're just continuing to operate as we would, we invite people in here. And if they're undocumented, then unfortunately, we can't help them with general or emergency assistance because the township code doesn't allow for it. We're certainly going to help them try to find other resources, connect them with DeKalb Migrant Aid and so forth, so that they can get the resources they need, or agencies that have less restrictions like St. Vincent de Paul. We'll try to connect them with them and get them the help that they need. We're not going to, we can't help them with some of our more regimented programs, but we're gonna connect them with resources. So, and we'll continue to do that. Any comments or questions on that, or? Look like you're thinking, Dale.
It's just not the best situation to be.
Yeah. And then last week I attended the Kishwaukee United Way Luncheon, which was a great celebration of all the good stuff happening in our community. I really want to hand it to Dr. Michelle Vaughn, who's the new executive director there. She has reshaped that organization, and there's a lot of community engagement, a lot of enthusiasm, and it's pretty exciting to see that. And then just a couple of upcoming things that I want to share. In front of you is this flyer. And so in working with Danita, who provides our employment services, we're always trying to brainstorm how we can be more effective with helping job seekers in our community secure employment. And if you pay any attention to some activity on social media, you'll see people posting all the time that they've applied to 100 jobs and have not heard anything back. And so Danita and I thought we're brainstorming ways that we could maybe address that. And so next Thursday, we are hosting a variety of employers here from the county, human resources, Kishwaukee College, NIU, Target Distribution, so some major employers. We're going to have just basically a focus group of what's coming into you? What do you see? Where's the disconnect? Are people not showing up for their interviews? Are they, get hired and then don't come to orientation? So we're trying to figure out where that disconnect is for these people who are applying for jobs but not having any success. So that then Danita can, as she's working with job seekers, let them know the reality of the situation in this community and, be honest with them about what they have to do or what they need to discontinue doing in order to be successful in their job search. And I can speak to experience to this, which leads me into the next thing. On pages 14 and 15 of your book are a new position that we just posted for today. it's time to get someone working at the front desk, in a receptionist, administrative assistant capacity. I've held off as long as I could, but we're just, with Kim now being very, very heavily focused on our community services, she's just not able to multitask and carry out a lot of the responsibilities that, is assigned to the person who's at the front desk. So this position was posted on our website, which I don't think has seen a lot of activity, but then I put it on Indeed about 2 o'clock. And I very specifically put in, so on some pages in 14 and 15, I very specifically put, where you see starting pay $18 to $22 an hour. To apply, send your cover letter and resume to supervisor@DeKalbTownship.org with administrative assistant in the subject line. I've got 3 applications so far and they're all through Indeed. And there's no cover letter. And so this particular position requires a lot of attention to detail. And so 3 applications already that haven't. And I mean, that's maybe what's going on a larger level in our community is, people are applying with Indeed applications that just list your skills. And so I think that it's going to be a really great conversation with these employers about this, and then we're going to take that information. We're actually, Kim has gone through several social media trainings, and so we believe it's in our best interest because the road district and the township share our one Facebook page. And so you can't make multiple posts a day because that decreases the effectiveness of the social media site. So we are going to be launching a DeKalb Township employment page that's only going to focus on employment, and Danita's going to play a pretty big role in that. And so the information that we learn at this employer forum, we can disseminate information through this new employment Facebook page. We'll have our weekly job postings on there. But with the potential cut to resources, whatever is going to happen on a federal level, getting people employment. We want to put a big emphasis on that right now to try to help people be self-sufficient in case they lose some funding that's coming into their homes.
How many employees are signed up to?
I just talked to Danita today, and there's probably about a dozen that have responded that they would like to be here. But on next Monday or Tuesday, she's going to ask for confirmations. And we are also exploring the possibility of opening it up to Zoom if people can't be here in person. But DCEDC, the DeKalb County Economic Development Corporation, has been instrumental in helping us recruit employers to be part of this.
Suitors involved.
Suitor, Ideal.
I know all you do is listen to the radio. The companies that are on the radio. There's a big company in Rochelle that's in need of 1,000 people,
And
those are basic jobs. Takes very little skill level. So.
right.
A lot of young people don't listen to the radio.
No, I understand. I think even, I don't know what the issue is.
Yeah.
It's just what I mean.
And so this social media page we have might be able to morph into something where people who are actively hiring right now are part of it. Because the job search, it's a full-time job when you're looking for a job.
Serious about it.
Yeah, so.
I was gonna ask you, do you share this posting with other places? Do you share it with churches? Do you share it with?
The job posting?
Yeah.
It will be on our website, Indeed. We sent it to the DeKalb County not-for-profit, but they just sent out their newsletter. Chamber of Commerce, LinkedIn. So, I mean, places where job seekers go to look for jobs.
Do we still have like first staffers or something?
Those are temp agencies. This is a permanent position.
Okay, so the employment people, they do. Full-time
Like
job,
the unemployment office type of thing?
yeah,
Illinois WorkNet, we could look at, yeah, I could look at putting it on there.
and I don't know if you share stuff with NIU, but Huskies get hired. I mean, that's for people that are graduating, that have graduated, so that may be a place to send it as well.
Yeah, we just put it out this afternoon, so we can certainly add it to more places.
We put it in the newspaper.
So expensive for what level we thought you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, tomorrow it will be on the job list that Danita puts out every week.
I asked about churches and, Unitarian too. I know they're not a church, but sometimes they put announcements in those bulletins.
Yeah, I suspect we're going to, I mean, within an hour, I had 3 applicants. I suspect we're gonna be drowning in applications. Because, you know, it's decent pay with good benefits.
Excellent benefits.
It's
a full-time
position.
Yeah, and some people do it just for the IMRF and the healthcare.
The healthcare's.
Yeah. So,
Alone should, or people should want this position.
That's my thought exactly, that people should be, you know, looking to find this rather than trying to find someone else.
right.
Uh,
And then back to this, so the bottom part here, the hiring event and interviewing fair, what we're trying to do then is the employers who are here, get them, if they're actively looking for employees. Danita has seen this happen in other communities where it's had success, is where it's like a job fair, but it's a hiring and interview. So people come in with their resume in hand. I think NIU just had something like that for,
Yeah, they're about to have another one, internship.
Yeah. and you have on the spot interviews. And then employers are giving feedback to the people about, you know, what went well, what didn't. And now they're not gonna get hired right there because a lot of these places have background checks and you have to look at all your candidates and everything, but at least people will get the experience of being interviewed. So we hope that a lot of the employers who attend will be willing to participate in this hiring event and interview fair. But we've tried to do it in the past and it's kind of challenging to get employers who are willing to do it. It's kind of a non-traditional thing. So that's where we're going with, in the direction of that. And then the last thing I want to report on is, in the beginning of the year, I had sent an email to IMRF requesting that we have a audit this year. Usually they will select companies to do these compliance audits with, but I actually requested it from them just to make sure that everything that we're doing, that, you know, our whole IMRF count is in good standing and that we're supplying the correct documents and just kind of reassurance that we don't have anything we need to address with IMRF. We were selected and we've already started the process by sending them some documents. And they said they'll get in touch when we have the date of our audit. They don't come here, so it'll just relaying information to them. So I will keep you posted on that.
IMRF coming to your location.
They were here last year.
No, yeah, but
So any questions about any of that? Clerk's report?
I had the pleasure of doing a shift at the warming center at the Unitarian Universalist Church. It was a wonderful time and would recommend it if you ever want to be up late. Bunch of wonderful people that both work there and are there, and it was great to get to know them. But other than that, no report.
I think it'd be worth mentioning that by March first, if any members of our community want to add something to the annual meeting agenda, they have to submit it to you prior to March first.
Yes, that is.
Should they do that by email or?
Yes, they should do that by email to clerk@DeKalbTownship.org.
Okay. Highway Commissioners report?
Not a lot, just same old winter stuff, snow. What little we've had, we're in good shape with salt and just working away at our winter projects. So yeah, that's it for me.
Assessors reports, trustees reports, trustee King?
Nothing, actually.
Trustee Bradley?
No report.
Trustee Thurman?
I'll report.
All right then, moving on to bill paying. Can I get a motion to approve the January audit report in the amount of $162,912.29 and the February bills to pay in the amount of $115,353.95.
Second.
Any discussion on the January audit report or February bills to pay? Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Bradlow,
Yes.
trustee Thurman,
Yes.
trustee King,
Aye.
supervisor Hess.
Yes.
4 ayes and no nays, it passes.
Okay. Next, can I get a motion to receive, file, and approve the treasurer's January budget reports?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? I will add to the discussion. I just want to point out that, for January's, our card member services, which is our credit card bill, when we responded to the community fire, I explained last month that Walmart wasn't willing to work with us to purchase gift cards. So we had to, we reached out to Meyer and they were, so for each household or each family in each household had a $200 gift card. We ended up purchasing $8,000 worth of Meyer gift cards with the credit card because the fire was on Sunday and we're purchasing them on Monday. So I did use funds out of our money out of our contingency line item to cover that particular expense. Because our emergency, we didn't have enough money in the emergency funds line item. So I used contingency funds for that, which is what they're there for. So I just want to make it clear what that expense was for.
And all of the gift cards were handed.
We have a few left over, and so we'll just hold on to those, for future fire or future emergencies.
So, do you know what was, how many are left over?
I don't know that information offhand. It's not a lot. I want to say it's like maybe 4. Some people. I can check with Casey if some people didn't come and get them or if we just over purchased. Because at the time that she purchased, we didn't know exactly how many families lived in each household, so we, went a little bit high with the purchases. But in the so in your board book, every month she does a report on the grant disbursements. And on page 21, you can see that 3 gift cards were handed out in January for Hillcrest Greenbrier Fire, and then we did pay security deposit for 4 of those units, people who are relocating to the buildings, the apartments.
Do we thank Maya? Like an extra thanks, not just like, oh, thanks. Maya.
Yes, I sent them a thank you card,
Okay,
along with all of the places that helped with food
okay.
and getting the road distributed. So yes, I did. And I started to write a letter to Walmart corporate, but I haven't got it yet.
Okay.
So any further discussion on the January budget reports? Hearing none, roll call please.
Trustee Thurman,
Aye.
trustee Bradwell,
Yes.
trustee King,
Aye.
supervisor Hess,
Yes.
4 ayes and 0 nays, it passes.
We have no unfinished business, so new business. Can I get a motion to approve the amending ordinance, which is number 2024-004R, the DeKalb Township Road District Budget and Appropriation Ordinance for the fiscal year beginning April 1st, 2024, and ending March 31st, 2025. I don't know where 51 came from.
I was gonna say.
I won't make it that far, so trust me.
It's not a lot of money for that time.
No, it's not a lot. I don't even know if I'll be here.
Yeah.
That's only 29 years away.
All right, I will move to approve that
That'll be
amendment.
close.
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
Do we have to make an amendment to change the date?
No, it's correct on the,
Oh,
yeah. Just. Roll call, please.
Trustee King,
aye.
trustee Bradwell,
Yes.
trustee Thurman,
Aye.
and supervisor Hess,
Yes.
4 ayes and 0 nays, it passes.
Next we have discussion of electrical aggregation program. I just want to bring it up as a discussion tonight because it'll be coming up for a vote later. It is that time of the year where we look at we receive bids for electrical aggregation for our residents in our rural areas, not within city limits. So just to give a little bit of history, because I tend to receive a phone call every year about this. In January of 2023, the Board of Trustees at that time passed an ordinance authorizing the township to put a referendum question on the ballot of should they do this aggregation for residents who live outside of city limits. The board at that time approved that ordinance. So on the April 9th, 2013 ballot, voters approved it. So then in April of 2013, after the voters approved it, it went, the township approved an ordinance to carry that out. And so the first time this went into effect was May of 2013. And in the referendum, it said what voters approved was that they were going to allow the township to get bids on energy outside of ComEd to see if they could get rates that were lower. And it would be done in increments of 1, 2, or 3 years. And because we are not supposed to vote on things that are longer than our terms, sometimes it can be 3 years, and then that last year has to be done a year at a time. The voters also allowed for it to be an opt-out program, which means that every time that this is renewed, all of those people who live outside of city limits receive a notice saying that if you're not interested in participating in this cost saving programs, then you have to fill out this card and send it back. it's maybe not the best way to do it, but that's what voters agreed on. So, we work with Rock River Energy, which is based out of Oregon, Illinois. They do the bidding for us, and then will come to us with what those energy prices are. And then it comes to the board for a vote to approve that that we sign a contract with whoever the energy supplier is. And then they do all the work of sending out the notices to the residents and everything. So that is coming up, and so that will be brought to you at next month's meeting. That also happens with our building. So we can sign a contract to get a lower price on energy with our building. And that, I'm not entirely sure that that needs to be a board vote or not. I would have to ask Brad about that. But as far as the residential service, currently, the contract that we are in, it's with Dynegy. This is for the residential services outside of city limits, which is 6.26 cents per kilowatt. And ComEd is 6.552 cents. So there is a cost savings that comes with this. But I think it would, if people really want to watch their pennies, that, you know, on your ComEd bill that comes, it says what the Dynegy cost is per kilowatt, and then it tells you what the ComEd cost is per kilowatt. So even if it's the middle of the year, if people are seeing that ComEd provides a lower charge, then they can, you know, opt out of the electrical aggregation and go to ComEd. ComEd is still the supplier, so if your power were to go out, you would still contact ComEd, or, you know, if you have issues with your power, you're still gonna contact ComEd. It's just that the power is coming from a different source. So those bids are going to be coming in, and Mike, who is the person who I deal with, sent me this article that's just talking about, you know, the cost of energy with potential tariffs could increase. There is with all of the data centers going up, you know, they're not keeping up with the supply, and the demand is growing greater. And so, you know, we want to keep this close eye on this, so that we can try to help our residents with saving money. So I just wanted to do a review of it because it's going to be coming up next month. They're going to be watching the prices for us. So any questions about that? Just an information item. Next is the approval of the COI grant award. Last month I reported, so last month you all approved 3 COI grants, and I said we were waiting for information from 2 other organizations who had applied. One of those was the YMCA. They did provide us supplemental information. The COI committee reviewed those at our meeting last week. So on page 65 is a review or a summary of the YMCA, what they're asking for funds for. It's the before and after school program that serves District 428 elementary students. A little bit of information there on how many students they served last year. What happens is for the before school, parents drop their kids off at the YMCA, and the YMCA then buses, or maybe the school district comes and, like, first student comes and picks up students and then takes them to their respective schools. And then after school, the YMCA pays for transportation for the students to be bused from their schools to the YMCA, where the program is on site at the YMCA. The majority of the students who participate this are on the scholarship funds from the YMCA. So there's a breakdown there of what staffing costs are. $183,000 annually for this program. So the YMCA reached out asking for $2,500 to be applied to staffing costs and $2,500 to supplies. And their explanation of how they build assets in youth was very detailed. So the Committee on Youth is recommending that we fund them $5,000. So with that, can I get a motion to approve the boy grant award in the amount of $5,000 to the YMCA?
A motion.
Second.
Thank you. Bradlow and King. Any further discussion or questions on that? All right, all those in favor of the funding the YMCA, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstained?
Given that money is involved, should we take a roll call vote?
Oh, sure.
That's good. Trustee Bradlow,
Yes.
trustee King,
Aye.
trustee Thurman.
Aye.
And supervisor Hess.
Yes.
4 ayes and 0 nays, it passes.
And then we have approval of the minutes of the regular Board of Trustees meeting, January 21st, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes? Discussion? I would just like to address on page 66. The after the Pledge of Allegiance, where a motion to approve the agenda was made. Trustee King recommended the date of this meeting. That is where that was brought up, but it was for the
Thing that we-
bill.
Right.
What's the title on those things?
Yeah.
The town and general assistance.
Yeah, what's the title of that document?
Oh, right, changing the day on the,
Right up here. January Town and General Assistance warrant for
Yes,
expenditures
warrants,
report.
okay. So she was asking, because we had the original January date on those warrants, and so I just want to point out what she was recommending, the date on what we changed.
yeah, I guess there is no day in the actual agenda, it just says for the month of, so I was thinking about it wrong, but yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, so, well, no, there is a date at the bottom of each one. It says that the date of the meeting.
Right, I was thinking about changing the agenda,
Yeah,
like,
right.
I was, got it, understood.
So I just, if you could correct that, please. Anything else for the minutes? Then all those in favor of approving the minutes, will signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Okay, minutes are passed with those amendments. No old business, no executive session, so other business, our Committee on Youth meeting is March 11th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Are they here for early voting? I don't think so.
I'd have to look.
I don't think so. I think it's right after that meeting. And then our next regular Board of Trustees meeting is March 18th, 2025 at 6 p.m. That will be at this building, but we'll be back in the garage. Because early voting will be here. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn, please.
I'm motion.
I'll second.
All right, we are, all those in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, abstained? All right, we are adjourned at 6:50.